Hello. Today we are going to be talking about this comic right here, Superman Annual number 11, one of the most well-regarded Superman comics of all time, from Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. It got a Justice League Unlimited straight-up adaptation of it for a whole episode. That's how popular this comic is, or was. And I want to talk about it because it is a great comic, it earns its praise, and I don't think the Justice League Unlimited episode did it justice, and that's what I want to talk about today, the differences between the comic and the episode. So if you haven't watched the episode, just go watch it. It's like 20 minutes, and it'll get a nice refresher, and you should read the comic definitely. Really read the comic. It's great. The episode's not bad, but I don't think it does the comic justice. So, the premise of this is it's Superman's birthday, and the title is For the Man Who Has Everything, because it's like, what do you get for the man who has everything? It's his birthday. What do you get him? In the comic, Jason Todd, Batman, and Wonder Woman all get together at the Fortress of Solitude to celebrate Superman's birthday. But in the show, there's no Jason Todd. Batman doesn't have Robins in Justice League. I don't remember them ever showing up. So you don't get Jason Todd, which sucks because he's a pivotal part of the comic and he offers a lot of the best moments, especially towards the end. But he also adds a lot of the funny to it because in the comic, this is his first time meeting Wonder Woman. And he's just like, oh my God, when he meets Wonder Woman and Batman looks at him and goes, think clear to thoughts, chum, or clean thoughts. It's hilarious. But we get several moments with Jason and Batman that's pretty good, and we don't get any of that in the show, which is disappointing. So they all show up to the Fortress of Solitude. They're like, hey, we got gifts for Superman. What did you get him? In the comic, Wonder Woman got him a replica of the bottled city of Kandor, because Kandor at this point in the continuity had been resized and he didn't have the bottled city anymore, and she's like, he probably misses having that in his fortress. I got that for him. She doesn't tell him at the beginning. We find out at the end of the issue because she's like, Superman has super hearing and he'll hear us. Batman gets him this genetically created super weird rose that he's like, no one's gonna have this plant. I got him a super weird plant flower rose thing that I had my scientists working on. And then they go in the Fortress of Solitude and they see that Superman has Black Mercy on him, which is this alien flower plant thing on him. It's like, shucks, someone did get him a plant flower thing. And Robin even makes that joke where he's like, well, it's not too late to return it, Bruce. But in the show, Batman gets him cash, and Wonder Woman's the one who gets him a rose, because Kandor isn't in the same way that it was in the comics, so that's why they did that. But still, it would have been nice, because also there's a joke at the end with the rose that we don't really get in the show. There's several comedic beats in the comic that we don't get in the show, but they're there, they're trying to figure out what's going on with Superman, because he's in this catatonic state. He's just like, with the Black Mercy on him, and they're like, what's going on with him? He's not responding. He's got this thing on him. And in the comic, Bruce is like, the post office doesn't deliver to the Fortress of Solitude. How could this have got here? He probably has some teleportation thing where where people can send him stuff. Maybe he only opens it on his birthday, so other grateful species, planets that he saved, can send him stuff. And he thought it was, something from someone sending him something, and maybe someone did send him something, but they were not knowing it would hurt him. In the show, Batman's so smart, he instantly figures that out.
So it was a gift. Teleported here from some alien culture, some grateful world. Or someone wanting you to think they were grateful. How remarkable. You animals really are almost intelligent, aren't you? That's exactly what happened.
To where in the comic, he is off a little bit. He's close, but he's not there. To where in the show, it's Bruce Timm Batman. He's the best at everything. So, of course, figures it out instantly. So there's a little difference there. But Mongul shows up. Wonder Woman in the comic punches him once, hurts her hand, and then just gets bitched for the entire issue by Mongul until she gets knocked out. She doesn't do a thing to him. When she punches him, Mongul just looks at her like, what? What are you doing? Are you stupid? And then just destroys her. In the show, she bobs and weaves. She hits him with several punches. She does hurt her hands at one point, but she keeps going. She hits him with several good shots. She pulls off a wrestling move on him. She gets her licks in, and it seems kind of like the show's implying that she helped slow him down a bit for Superman towards the end. To where, again, in the comics, she just got manhandled and wasn't even a threat. But, again, this is the animated universe where Wonder Woman beat the tar out of Superman in the original Justice League show, the show prior to Justice League Unlimited. Remember that episode where they were tricked into thinking each of them like looked different, like they were a villain, and they fought and she kicked the crap out of Superman? So yeah. But while Wonder Woman and Mongul are fighting, because they like Mongul just punches her through a hole in the wall, it just like makes a hole in the wall with her body, and you just hear her getting the crap kicked out of her, and Robin looks at Batman as like, should we help? And Batman says to Robin, that's out of our league, bud. We're going to try to help Superman. And in the show, Batman tries to help fight Mongul at first. He like gets on him. He gets thrown off instantly. He doesn't do anything, but he tries. Unlike, again, in the comic where he's just like, we're not meant for that, dude. That's not Two-Face in there. We're not meant to be fighting a giant alien, dude. Also, in the comic, they have no idea who Mongul is. They know nothing about him. Batman, even when he looks at him, is like, what is this creature? To where in the show, they're like, hey, Superman told us about you and how he kicked your butt. So, a little difference there as well. I also think that Mongul has a better design in the comic than in the show. But that's just my personal preference. So, they are trying to help get Superman out of this. And I haven't even told you about the Black Mercy, because prior to Wonder Woman and Mongul throwing down, Mongul tells them about the Black Mercy. Both in the show and the comic, he tells them, he's like, this is a thing that it reads your heart desire. It's got a telepathic ability. It can read your heart's desire, and it knows what you want, and it gives you like a realistic simulation based off what you want, what's in your heart. In the comic, Mongul says that victims of the Black Mercy could shrug it off, they just don't want to, which shows us that the Black Mercy isn't keeping you trapped in there. It's just showing you what you want, and you want it so bad that you won't leave. It's your perfect paradise, which makes Superman's feat later on in the issue crazy because he gets out with his own willpower. Just, that's insane. That's crazy. Really shows how strong Superman is. But in the show, we never get this part of Mongul saying this. And I think this is a missed opportunity and something they should have added in the show because it would have taken 1 second. But sadly, it's not in the show. But it's a great little part in the comic that really highlights what Superman does later. There's big differences in the comic to the show for what's being portrayed. In the comic, things are falling apart from the beginning. From the very beginning, Superman's like, things are off. Jor-El doesn't show up to his birthday party. Jor-El is like kind of a freak because he predicted that Krypton was going to blow up like 20 years ago. He was wrong. So Krypton's still alive, but he's been just cast out of the Science Council and no one respects him. And now he's like leading this weird religious cult. And things are really off. There's a lot of off things to where in the show, everything's going good for Superman till the end. Like everything's great. Everything's really good. Also, he's only got one kid. He's got a son. To where in the comic, he's a son and a daughter. But I don't really mind that because the son's the only one that's even really fleshed out a tiny bit in the comic. Like the daughter's like mentioned and shown once and that's it. So that's a change where I'm like, yeah, it makes sense not to waste any time on the daughter because she doesn't really play a part in the comic at all. So didn't mind that. But in the comic, it seems kind of like Superman is fighting the Black Mercy from the beginning, from the get-go, because like how things are going, it's like, I don't think Superman desired any of this. I don't think he desired like Jor-El not to show up to his birthday. I don't think he desired like Kara, his cousin Supergirl, gets attacked in a horrible incident and hospitalized. I don't think he wanted that. Like there's so many different things happening where it's like, this seems like Superman's been fighting it and that's why this is happening. To where in the comic, he's like, everything's great until like one point he notices that it looks like Krypton's gonna explode now. Like, I believe Jor-El had the prediction wrong in the show also, but it didn't mean anything bad. Like, Jor-El's life is fine, and, like, everything's going good. Like, he's got a good relationship with Clark, unlike in the comic. And then at the end, Clark, the planet explodes, and Clark gets out of the Black Mercy, and that's kind of how he fights it. So it's not done as well. To where in the show, in the comic... So in the show, it's not quite as tragic. It doesn't feel as tragic. I feel like they didn't do as good of a job of having things progress and having things be as sad as it is. Because at the end, he's talking to his son. He's just like, I don't think you're real. And then the planet explodes. And it's like not done too well, in my opinion. A lot of people probably really like it, but I didn't think it was done too well. Especially it pales in comparison to the comic where he's going through all this and like he's trying to wonder why everything's like going so terribly. And Krypton's not exploding at the moment. moment. And it's not what's going on. The world falls apart because he realizes that this isn't real. And when he's talking to his son, he's like, I don't think you're real. And I think the dialogue here is better than in the show. Because they do some one-for-one dialogue in the show with the comic, but they don't do it at this point. And when he's talking to his son, it's really heart-wrenching. And also that Dave Gibbons art is just, whew, it's killer. And so that moment, I think, is done much better when he confronts his son. He's like, I love you. I've been there since the day you were born. I remember the day you were born, but I don't think you're real. And it's just heartbreaking. To where in the show they do something similar, but I feel like it's just not nailed as well. So Superman fights off the Black Mercy. He gets out of his own will, which is incredible because again, Mongul's talking about how like you can fight it, but you won't because people want what they want, but not Superman because he's Superman. He's that guy. He's him. Superman's him, you know? I don't know. I'm pointing at myself because I have Superman on my shirt, not saying I'm Superman. But yeah, if you can't see, Superman's right there in the window. His Darwin Cook drawing is sick, so there's Superman right there. So when Superman gets out of the Black Mercy in the comic, he's stunned for a second because he just got out, and then he's like, who did this to me? And Robin tells him Mongul, and then he screams Mongul's name. And then he rushes to go fight Mongul. And you see the rage, and it's like, oh man, Superman's generally not like this. And he just starts pummeling Mongul. And again, Wonder Woman's unconscious at this point. In the show, he gets out. He doesn't say who did this to me, possibly because, so in the comic when he gets out, the Black Mercy then jumps on Batman because Batman's there trying to get it off Superman, and it jumps on him, and he's like, He was trying to get the glove. So Mongul had these gloves that he handled the Black Mercy with, so they couldn't attach to him, and Robin was getting the gloves to give to Batman, but Superman fought the thing off, so it got off and attached to Batman before Robin could get the gloves. So it's like, oh crap. So the who did this to me is kind of directed at, like, I'm assuming Robin, because Robin's the one who's conscious and Batman's there being consumed by the Black Mercy, to where in the show, Robin's not there to hear that. So I guess they didn't do the who did this to me because it would be like, who's Superman talking to? So I guess that's why they didn't do it. But they didn't do the Mongul yell either, which is crucial because it's such a big part of the comic. Like when he yells Mongul, letting you know his rage, to where in the show, he just like gets out and then just like goes at Mongul and starts fighting. It's like, would have been cool. He still could have yelled Mongul. That would have made sense. But they don't do that. And also, I feel like this moment doesn't hit as hard in the show because Superman in the animated universe, in Superman the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited, he's kind of prone to violence and being like just a violent idiot that thinks with his fists first. He's like that a lot, like all the time. So let me preface also, Superman's my favorite character in all of fiction. I think he's an amazing character. I don't like the way he's handled in a lot of the animated stuff. I don't think they really understand him. And in Bruce Timm's, specifically in Bruce Timm's Superman, a lot of times he thinks with his fist first. He's always just a violent idiot. He's always like, can I punch something? I'm going to punch something. Let's go punch. And that's always his thing. So in the comic, when Superman goes like screams Mongol and goes crazy, it's like, oh man, this isn't like Superman at all. To where when he does it in the show, it's like, this is just another day for animated Superman. This is what he does. He gets angry and he punches stuff. He's just constantly doing this. So it doesn't hit as hard for me. And again, also they took out those who did this to me and freaking screaming Mongol. So he goes, he's fighting him. In the show, Wonder Woman is still conscious and she crawls. She got the crap kicked out of her. I don't want to misrepresent that. It's not like she like beat Mongol or anything. She does get her licks in and she does a little bit, but she gets the crap kicked out of her. Mongol clearly beats her. And she crawls over to Batman. She's like, let me try to get this off. Batman seeing his dad beat the crap out of Joe Chill in the alley. Also, Joe Chill's voiced by Kevin Conroy, which is interesting. And also Josh Hutcherson from freaking Hunger Games, and Freddy Fazbear voiced Superman's son in this episode, which was interesting as well. Anyways, she's trying to pull this off Batman while Batman's seeing his dad beat up the Joe Chill. And he's like, yeah, and this is also what's happening in the comic. So in the comic, that's happening, but Robin has the gloves, so he's able to rip off the Black Mercy from Batman, because he's like, with Superman, they didn't really know much about the Black Mercy, and they also were like, I don't know if we can rip this off because who knows what will happen. But with Batman, Robin's like, he's a human. Who knows what's going to happen? It's better to rip this thing off and let it be on him because I don't even know if humans can survive this thing. So he grabs the gloves and he rips it off, and it's implied that because of the gloves, he's able to rip it off because he's got these special big gloves. In the show, Wonder Woman just rips it off Batman. and she fights it off also, which I'll say why it's a problem that she fights it off because of what happens at the end of the episode. So she rips off the Black Mercy. Black Mercy tries to attach it to her, but she's holding it off, and she's like dodges it and stuff. So Superman, and this is where the comic and the show are very similar. Superman is beating up Mongul, like they're going back and forth. They both get their licks. And there's a great moment in the comic that they try to replicate in the show. They do it word for word, but the execution isn't there. It's where Superman's on his knees and Mongul says, "Happy birthday, Kryptonian. I give you oblivion." And Superman says, "Burn," and then freaking hits him with some heat vision, and Mongul gets pissed. He's like, "You insufferable little speck, you hurt me," implying that the entire time through the fight with Wonder Woman, he never got hurt ever, and this time he's actually hurt now. And huge, that little "you hurt me" part doesn't happen in the show, but also, more importantly, George Newborn does a horrific job with the burn line. I don't know if it's necessarily his fault or the director's fault, because I don't know why they went with that take, because when Mongul delivers his "I give you oblivion," and it's done really well, Superman then just goes, "Burn, burn." But there's like no gravitas, no drama, nothing behind him saying burn. To where in the comic, the way I read it, it was like, burn. It was like, I did that horrible because I'm not a voice actor and I'm really bad, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you read it as intense, but in the show, it's not at all, sadly. I would play the clip, but I don't want to get hit by all the YouTube copyright and everything, so sorry. You'll just have to go watch that yourself. Search it up on YouTube or something. You can find the clip, and trust me, that it's just the way they do burn is so bad in the show. But then Superman is beating up Mongul, gets the upper hand, and the comic, it shows that like seems like Superman's going to have to kill him, because they're talking about how they're both indestructible, but they're still both causing damage to each other. And it's like, oh man, this is crazy what's going on. And Superman's like, gonna kill Mongul, and then he looks up at Krypton. He sees Krypton, he sees Laura and Jor-El holding it up, and he's like, oh man, what am I doing? This is not, this ain't very Superman of me. This is not what they would have wanted. This is not right. And so then Mongul's like, haha, I thought you were actually gonna kill me for a second, and gets the upper hand, is about to beat the tar out of Superman and potentially kill him. But then Robin, through a hole in the ceiling, drops the Black Mercy on Mongul. And this is a great moment because it's so cool that you had all these powerful characters just battling it out. And then the weakest among all of them, freaking Robin in his his old school Robin get up where he's just like basically naked. And the weakest of all of them is the one who's able to subdue Mongul using his noggin. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. Whereas in the show, Wonder Woman is the one who drops it at Mongul. And the reason this is a problem is because Wonder Woman is barehanding it, and she's up in the hole in the ceiling that Mongul and Superman caused in their fight. She says, "Hey, Mongul, over here," or whatever she says. She gets his attention. Mongul looks up at her. She drops it on him. He's like, "Oh no." And he gets it and gets consumed by the Black Mercy, and that's how he gets subdued. The problem with this is we saw Wonder Woman fight it off earlier, and we know that Mongul is more powerful than Wonder Woman. Why couldn't Mongul just fight it off? Especially because she warns him. It's not like she surprise drops it on him. She warns him. It's like, "Hey, Mongul," and shows him it. And so he easily, and Superman's subdued at this point because Mongul's got the upper hand, so Superman's not distracting him or anything. So he could have just been like, "Nope, I can fight this thing off," because we saw Wonder Woman do it. To where in the comic, it's like, hey, if you don't have these gloves, you're screwed. This thing's attaching to you. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's something that it's like, why not just include the gloves in the show? I feel like that was stupid. I feel like that was missed. But anyways, that's how it ends. In the comic, we get to see what Mongul sees. He freaking rips off Superman's head. He conquers Earth. He gets Warworld back. He goes around just turning everything to dust and conquering the universe. In the show, they don't show anything. There's just some screams as it zooms in on Mongul. It's like, I wonder what he's saying. And also, that's where we get the joke in the comic where Batman's like, I got you this rose, but it died. And it's pretty funny. To where in the show, it's kind of a bit more tragic about the rose, where Wonder Woman's like, I got you this rose, but I'm sorry. It's not good no more. And Clark's like, it's all right. So it's not really played for laughs in the show. And also, it's kind of traumatic for Superman in the comic because Wonder Woman gives him the bottled city of Kandor, and he was just in Kandor in his mind from the Black Mercy. And so he's kind of like, But then he plays it off and he's like, this is a great gift, Wonder Woman. Gee, thanks. Definitely doesn't remind me of my trauma I just went through where my son just deteriorated before my eyes. Also, the comic ends with Wonder Woman giving Superman a big old kiss on the lips, but we couldn't have that in the show because remember, Batman's the coolest guy ever, and he's the one banging Wonder Woman, and Superman's the guy that gets cucked by Batman whenever Bruce shows up and Lois is all over him. So that's how Bruce Timm animated universe works. Remember that. Couldn't have that in the show. Couldn't have Wonder Woman kissing Superman in the show. No, can't do that. And yeah, so overall, I don't think the Justice League episode is terrible by any means, but I think it missed the mark, and I think just do a one-to-one adaptation. Come on. I really wish they would have introduced Robin. He has some of the best moments in here. The whole Wonder Woman has to, Wonder Woman has to show that she can't just go out. She can't just go out like a bitch in this. She's got to actually, like, do something. It's like, come on, just, like, really show how powerful Mongul is, like the comic. Like, again, she does lose, but still, it's like, the fact that they have to be like, we have to have her get a wrestling move in on him. We have to have her freaking Bob, like, she's got to do something. It's like, come on. And also, again, with Batman, Batman has to try to physically fight Mongul. To where in the comic, Batman's smart enough to be like, out of my league, Robin. We're trying to help Superman and get him in the fight. We're not going to fight Mongul. Even though Wonder Woman's just in there just getting punched to death, our best bet is to help Superman get out of this so he can go help. We're not doing that. If Riddler was in there confusing her mind with some riddles, like, oh, what gets drier as it's wet? Oh, we could go help. But that's not the case, chum. That's a yellow alien dressed in a purple leotard. We're not doing this. So I like that a lot in the comic. To in the show, it's like, no, Batman's he's gotta at least try. And it's like, come on. But again, this show kind of, I feel like, had a bit of a vendetta against Superman. There were some episodes that were all right. There were some stuff where they did some okay stuff with Superman. For the most part, I'm not the biggest fan of Superman in any of the Bruce Timm stuff, because I feel like he didn't really respect Superman, and he was the biggest Batman fanboy. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. But anyways, yeah, again, not a terrible episode. The comic is amazing. I highly recommend you read the comic. Maybe you watched the show growing up and you didn't even know it was based off a comic. Read the comic. It's really good. It's also collected in this trade where they collect the Alan Moore Superman stories. It's pretty good. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow's got a really freaking dark Mitzelplick story in there that's really good. Alan Moore surprisingly writes a good Superman. The guy writes a lot of different interesting comics, but he actually writes a good Superman, which is, you wouldn't think it, but he does. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the episode? What did you think of the comic? Did you like the episode better than the comic? I've heard some people say that, which blows my mind. But anyways, I want to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see y'all next time.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, you know I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.